Next.
Welcome into Tips for Gamers. Today we are going to be breaking down how to upgrade DNs in Madden 23 franchise mode. Make sure to hit that like button. It really helps out our channel. We can't thank you guys enough. Hit it. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And then also comment down below the best quote that you guys always take with you, is something that you remember and you'll never forget. So first and foremost, I always look for a guy who's fast, because you have to think of DNs as the three-headed monster. You want good development, right? You want good overall, and you want speed, because speed kills. It just does. When you got a guy like Brian Burns, for example, Brian Burns is going to get you a lot of sacks. Simulation user play. If you use him correctly, he'll get you a lot of sacks because he's fast. All right, and he's talented. He is a three-headed monster. And that's how you want to look at it. You want to look at certain guys like that. You can move linebackers to DNs that are faster, and you're going to see them do really well. Don't get caught up in weight and size, because size isn't really that imperative in Madden. There's no true physics in Madden. Your guy could be 7 foot tall, 400 pounds, and he'll play the exact same as a guy who is 5'3", 150 pounds. It won't matter. Okay. Now, one upgrade that we don't touch is run stopper. And I know some people will probably not like to hear that. And to our surprise, some people actually think that because we say we won't upgrade one, they think that it'll always stay as a 64 in this scenario. That's not true. Okay, just because we don't upgrade it directly doesn't mean that the attribute or the block doesn't get upgraded indirectly. These attributes are intertwined. You got to remember that. All right, so I don't touch run stopper. I always love power rusher. Your goal is to get power rusher to a 90 overall and speed rusher to a 90 overall because of the superstar abilities. That's your goal. You want to have the best abilities, and that unlocks the best abilities. Run stopper will follow. It wants to hang out with his brothers. All right. So I love power rusher first, because power rusher is really what's going to launch linemen. That's going to be the first thing. If you get a guy who has great power rushing ability and he's fast, that's a dangerous player. That is a very dangerous player. Speed rusher is dangerous too, but in my opinion, I'd rather have power rusher first. Okay. So the other thing, if you're coming up on a contract, I'm going to probably upgrade the guy maybe to an 85 overall. And if he's coming up on a contract, I may start hitting the speed rusher here and work on that so I don't have to pay him too much money. He's not stopping in progress, but I may kind of flirt with that other one. All right, so that is one thing that I may do, but I want to get it to a 90 overall, and then I'm going to work on the speed rusher as well. Now, let's say speed rusher or power rusher was here at a 64 and run stopper was at a 67. I'd still work on his power rushing here because it's close enough. The points are close. I know I can make up that gap, right? But in this case scenario, for like Ross Blacklock, he's a 62 speed rusher. So I'm not going to work on his speed rushing right now until he's a higher overall, his development's better, things like that, because you're going to die on the molehill here for no reason, okay? That is something that you just shouldn't do. You want to always think of the philosophy, draft low, trade high. All right, always profit off of all the moves that you make. It's a win-win situation. If your player gets good and you drafted him in the second round or the first round, he gets really good, and then you trade him away for 2 firsts or something crazy, then the player's still getting paid and you are profiting off of your drafting. It's a win-win situation. So I'm not going to take a guy, if he's a 62 overall power rusher, and say, hey, I'm going to work on that power rushing, and then he's a 78 overall when he's coming up on off of his rookie contract instead of an 85 or above. That's not worth it, because you're not going to be able to trade him for nearly as much. Okay, so that's not something you want to do. All right, always keep the opportunity up for you to profit off of the moves that you make. Let's say speed rusher was in this spot and power rusher was down here. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to get him up. I might get him up to an 85. He's coming up on a contract, and I'll start working on his power rushing. As much as I won't like it as much as a power rusher, I'm not going to fight against the grain. I'm going to promote him at what he's good at. I'm not going to change him. I'm going to let him, flourish. And so that's what I would do. I would just swap the two. Okay, so let the players tell you how you want to upgrade them. Let their developments tell you how you want to upgrade them. And then go from there, and then just don't touch run stopper. And don't worry, for those of you guys who love run stopper, it will get upgraded indirectly over time. It wants to hang out with its bros.